Hey everybody, welcome back to Review a Day. Happy New Year's everybody, 2010. Do you smell the optimism? Do you guys smell that in the air? Everyone's got their resolutions. Before that optimism all comes crashing down and everyone abandons their New Year's resolutions, head over to nitpicket.com because, like in today's episode of Review a Day, we counted down our top 10 of 2009. We maybe talk about it a little bit more. Also, you get to hear what my buddy Aaron thought of what he thought the best 10 movies were. Maybe we agree on the number one. Who knows? Check it out, nitpicket.com. I thank you in advance. Before I even get into my top 10 though, I want to count down some of my honorable mentions for the year. The first one is Anvil, the story of Anvil, a film I actually never got around to reviewing here on Review Day. Terrific documentary about a metal band that never quite made it. It's a terrific documentary. Even if you don't like metal, please see this documentary. It is really terrific. At its core, it's a movie about guys who try to reach for their dreams, never really quite made it. It's a heartbreaking, funny, hilarious, terrific documentary. If you liked The King of Kong, check out Anvil, the story of Anvil. My number two honorable mentions is the French film Summer Hours. Juliette Binoche is in this. It's a terrific little French film about a group of siblings whose mother passes away, and they're kind of dividing up this art collection, what they're going to do with the house. Sounds a bit boring, but it plays out more like a stage play. Wonderful character moments. Juliette Binoche is terrific. My number three honorable mention of 2009, Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi. I wish Drag Me to Hell had had all the hype that Paranormal Activity had, because I think Drag Me to Hell, had that many people gone out to see that movie, I think people would have had a blast with this movie. Kind of went under the radar. It's silly. It's Sam Raimi doing his slapstick horror. I really loved it. My number four honorable mention is Where the Wild Things Are. This is an audacious film for children. I don't know if it's perfect. It's ballsy. I loved and adored the special effects in this movie. Spike Jonze is a terrific director, and I really, really love everything he's done. And I think Where the Wild Things Are fits very well into his catalog of films. Here we go, top 10 of 2009. My number 10 pick is The Hurt Locker, directed by Kathryn Bigelow. Look, if I'm gonna watch a movie about people in a far-off land trying to get an unobtainable energy source, I'm gonna watch The Hurt Locker. I really think Kathryn Bigelow directed the shit out of this tiny little, independent war film. Make no mistake though, this movie played in art house theaters and kind of the smaller theaters in the United States. But this is just a badass action movie. I mean, if you think this is kind of an artsy war movie, it's not. This movie is awesome. Kathryn Bigelow really establishes the characters, also thanks to performances by Jeremy Renner and Anthony Mackie, who are terrific in the film. It really broke my heart to find out that Jeremy Renner was not going to be playing Hawkeye in the Avengers. There's been all this rumor about it. He's not doing it. Broke my heart, but he's terrific in The Hurt Locker. And if you haven't seen The Hurt Locker, I don't know when it's coming out on DVD, but it is terrific. And it's my number 10 pick for the year. My number 9 pick for my favorite film of 2009 is Brothers, the Jim Sheridan film starring Tobey Maguire, Natalie Portman, and Jake Gyllenhaal. Three actors I really, really like. I think that I was most surprised by this film about the subtlety of the story. I really thought it was going to be an over-the-top, Oscar-sweeping, sad story about people whose lives had been ruined by the Iraq War. But I think it's much better than that. I think Jake Gyllenhaal and Tobey Maguire give two of their best performances. I like Natalie Portman in this movie. I don't necessarily buy her as a small town wife with two kids. They put her in the big sweatshirts and she tries to kind of frump it up a little bit. But even her, I thought she was pretty terrific, and I think it was really saved by Jim Sheridan's really restrained, terrific directing. I also thought the screenplay was quite nice. My number 8 pick for my favorite film of 2009 is the Chan-wook Park film Thirst. I reviewed this one a while back. I believe I gave it a 5 out of 5. Chan-wook Park, the guy that did Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance, came back with this really interesting story about a priest who becomes a vampire, and he kind of ends up questioning his entire life, everything that he's believed in. He falls in love with the girl he knew way back when. This movie, I think, really pulled off a lot of what Antichrist really wanted to do. It doesn't go as far, and I think it's better for that. This movie is provocative. It's deeply uncomfortable a lot of the time. Well, the performance from Kang Sang-ho is terrific, and the other actress, I cannot remember her name, I never do. She was terrific as well. This movie by the end of the movie, you will be on the edge of your seat. A woman just scratching the side of her chair is some of the most suspenseful stuff I've seen all year long. So check out Thirst if you haven't heard about it. Number 7 is The Fantastic Mr. Fox, directed by Wes Anderson, George Clooney, Meryl Streep, Jason Schwartzman as voices. This isn't the best movie of the year, but I loved this movie probably more than anything on my top 10 list. I mean, I loved this movie. This movie had me grinning from ear to ear. Wes Anderson was born to direct a Roald Dahl book for the screen, and I think this is, I think it's one of his best movies since The Royal Tenenbaums, which is still my favorite Wes Anderson film. I think The Fantastic Mr. Fox is terrific. I was surprised how well the Wes Anderson comedy worked in the movie. Jason Schwartzman had me cracking up from beginning to end. Stop motion animation, I love it. It looks so terrific here. I couldn't recommend this movie enough. My number 6 pick is Up from Pixar. I probably don't need to tell you about this movie because you've already seen it. It's terrific. The first 10 minutes warrant it being on my top 10 list alone. Heartbreaking stuff. Russell stole my heart. The old man stole my heart. Doug the dog stole my heart. This movie is beautiful. The score by Michael Giacchino was terrific. I absolutely adore this movie. You already know that though. My number 5 film of the year is Humpday, and this is a mumblecore film with Mark Duplass and one of the guys who's actually in the Blair Witch Project. I never got around to reviewing this one either, and I feel like I was doing you guys a great disservice by not talking about this film. This is a terrific film. I think what I liked most about Humpday was the fact that it's not a movie filled with a bunch of scenes. It's a movie with probably 4 or 5 long take scenes, and I think what I appreciate so much about mumblecore is the fact that how honestly it always plays out, how honestly the emotions in the movies come out. The film about 2 guys who enter the Strangers Hump Fest. It's like an artistic pornography contest, and it's 2 straight guys. They decided that they're going to have sex together on camera and enter it as this kind of art piece. Do not worry. If you're worried that this movie's going to show you 2 dudes boning down in the end, it doesn't. And I think what I liked so much about Humpday was that it really very subtly and quite cleverly dealt with a lot of issues that could have come across very taboo and kind of like, ooh, like aren't we being edgy? You know, it deals with male sexuality and like masculine identity and those kinds of things, but it does it in a really smart way. The performances in this film are terrific and engaging. Mark Duplass of The Puffy Chair and of the FX series The League, I love him. He is hilarious in this movie. It's funny, it's insightful, it's honest. It's probably my favorite. It's my favorite mumblecore film of the year, so check that out.